have a cup of tea. It did something very strange to my heart. Very long. It's really loud. Hi, I'm Johnny Flynn, and I wrote the music for Agatha Christie's The Mysterious Affair at Styles with my friend Joe Zeitlin, and here are my audio firsts. My son has to get up earliest in the family because he has to leave for school, and his alarm is Jimi Hendrix playing on an Alexa, so a little intense at 6:45. We go up to North Wales quite a lot with my family. Recently, we started hearing cuckoos up the valley there. So when you hear them, it's like, oh my God, I haven't heard that for 30 years. Before I was doing the audiobooks myself, my dad was doing them. So when I listened to an audiobook, it was usually my dad reading, playing the narrator, or at least playing a character. I think we had one of Gulliver's Travels that we really loved. My parents used to listen to Stefan Gelli, who's a jazz violinist who played with Django Reinhardt sometimes. When I heard him playing the violin, and I would have been about 4 or 5, I used to go and get a pair of wooden spoons from the kitchen and mime along. Thanks to Stefan Gelli, I still play the violin. I saw Forrest Gump. I think I was snuck into it when I was 11, and I think it was a 15 or maybe it was a 12. The character that Tom Hanks' character falls in love with, and there's a scene where she sings Blowing in the Wind. I hadn't heard Bob Dylan sing it, but I heard her sing it, and the lyrics of that song, the simplicity of it really knocked me out. So I immediately borrowed my dad's guitar and learned how to play it, and that was my introduction to both Bob Dylan and playing the guitar, but it would have been the lyrics that grabbed me. The first person who I was inspired by was a guy called Geoffrey Lewis, who's a very witty lyricist and an amazing comic book artist as well, but he's still a big fixture for me. I came to the 50th VE Day celebrations in London when I was probably about 10 or 11. I saw Dame Vera Lynn singing The White Cliffs of Dover, which was really cool. But I remember very clearly that being the first concert I'd ever been to, and thinking it's really loud and there's a lot of people. But when I was probably 9 or 10, my choir was kind of hired to be in a professional opera, so we were doing it every night, and the opera was The Pearl Fishers. I can't describe the feelings I had of watching these professional singers. It did something very strange to my heart. I think from that moment I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and get on a stage somehow. While I was at drama school, I started running a club night called Apocalypso. We basically ran this club night so that we could put ourselves on, and that's how I started. Yeah, those were the first gigs that I did. My first really important person like that was my English teacher. He kind of opened the doors of his house to lots of people. As a person, he was very available to the students, and he just loved teaching kids. And I lost my dad when I was a teenager, and he kind of became like a surrogate dad to me. So, you know, I owe him an eternity of gratitude. I was really excited because it was just really cool to kind of be there from the beginning and talk creatively about the direction and the inspiration and how we were going to create the sound world of it. When I first heard about it, I was a little bit overwhelmed because they were like, it's going to be like 70 plus music cues, and I didn't have very long to do it. I thought I can do it if I work with this friend of mine, Joe, who's an amazing composer and cellist and producer, and we do a lot of soundtrack stuff together. So we have a shorthand, and I thought that's the only way this will work, was to have his support, which is great. It meant we could work quite quickly, and we could also share responsibilities, and we get together and we break down an idea or a theme or a tone or something. We just jam. We just like pick up different instruments and we muck around and we find riffs and little hooks and things, and then suddenly that becomes a piece of music, and it's quite quick actually. I don't know. I just don't have any routine really when it comes to recording or making things like this. I'm always looking for happy accidents, as it were. I want things to not fit any pattern, because I want things to be surprising, and so therefore I try not to have any routine really.